Hey everybody, Natalie Madison here, talking about how to connect your airbrush. Maybe you got an airbrush for Christmas, maybe for your birthday, maybe you've gotten it from your birthday 2 years ago and you still haven't taken it out of the box because you're intimidated by how to connect everything together. Well, I wanted to take a moment and show you how easy it actually is. So today we have two styles of compressors out for you. I have just unboxed a Patriot Badger airbrush and a separately purchased Aztec Testors compressor. So we'll talk about that. And then over here I have one of my favorite tabletop models, which happens to be the Air Genie Pro, with the small tabletop compressor, hose, cord, and additional airbrushes. So how do we connect these guys? Well, first, it's important to talk about the hose that comes with your airbrush. So the hose has two ends, one intended to attach to the airbrush gun itself, and one for the compressor. So when you pull it out of the box, it's going to look like this. You're going to try to put this on and nothing's going to happen. You're going to be like, wait, Natalie, you said all I had to do was screw the cap on, which is true, but you need this little adapter, which fits the threading of most airbrushes. So the first thing you're going to do is pull this adapter out, put it on the top of your compressor, whether it looks like this one or one that you might have purchased on Amazon. You are then going to uncoil your hose and simply screw it right there on top of the adapter. And depending on the airbrush model that you buy and the compressor model that you buy, there may be a variety of different adapters. Look for the one that's intended for your airbrush. And then to connect to your airbrush, we have the Badger threading and the same Badger threading on the male end and female ends of your cord. Just tighten that together and voila, you have now set up your airbrush and attached it to your compressor. How easy is that? Let's talk about the other model. So this one's really cool. It has a separate DC plug. So that's going to go just off to one side, boom. And then you'll have found a cord inside. And the first thing you'll notice is there's not a screw end on one side, but there is on the other end. Well, this one happens to be the quick connect for your airbrush. And then this side literally hooks into the little nozzle on the side of the compressor itself. And you have connected the hose. Some airbrushes are going to have this cool little piece. This is a vapor catcher. Basically, it collects the vapor that might be in the air hose tubing, prevents it from being fed into the airbrush machinery and back into the compressor. So this guy, you would pop this hose on this side and remove this and pop it on this end. So they've all got these little threads on the inside to help hold this tubing on. So this is completely optional. I honestly have not used it with my Testors, but you might want it for the smaller tabletop kits. To connect your tubing to your airbrush, it's a quick connect. So you're just going to place it over the little nozzle and press up, and it is now connected. To release it, simply pull it down, and the spring load releases it, and you're free to go. I do love the quick connects on these. And the reason I love them is I can have 3 airbrush guns set up with 3 different color cups. And I'm working my Air Genie Pro and I'm working on my cookies and I spray one color. And I now need to apply the second color. So I just release the connection, quick connect on the second airbrush, and I'm ready to go again. Depending on what model you purchase, you might have a really nice tabletop compressor that has a dial for the PSI, the pounds per square inch. We want to make sure that's dialed down to about 18 to 20 PSI. Some of those tabletop models are actually quite tool use models, and they will blow holes into your cakes and cookies if that PSI is too high. So be sure to dial that down to about 19 to 20 PSI. The tabletop model I have here actually has a dial, but it's wonderfully calibrated intended for cakes and cookies. Same thing with the Testors compressor. You don't have to dial anything in. It's already set at about 19 psi and it's perfect for all of your decorative cake and cookie needs. But if you happen to get one of those fancy models, make sure you have that dial turned down to 19, 20 psi. Play around with it a little bit. You can drop it down, raise it up, and find a psi that you like. But that's it. That's how easy it is to set up your airbrush and have it ready to go. On-off button here and on-off button on the compressor starts the air pressure, makes things roll, and all you have to do now is to learn how to control that flow. Thanks for watching.